is this. A bunch of what are described extreme Muslims. I would just like to say a bunch of nutters, okay? Let's just call them a bunch of nutters. Decided that they didn't like the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I don't like it either. I think it was a complete mistake by the politicians, but that's by the by. The soldiers who are there, we've had this argument before, the soldiers who are there because they've been told, and that's their job. They have no choice. And they've been going around with placards saying, you know, kill the soldiers, various other things, which I find incredibly crass. And quite frankly, I'm amazed they're not all locked up. But this group of nutcases in Kensington today decided they would burn a large poppy. And as millions fell silent to remember those who have died in wars, this bunch of nutcases decided they would they would actually burn the poppy with placards saying Muslims Against Crusades, and around 30 people, not many to worry about, 30 people gathered close to the junction of Exhibition Road and Kensington Road near Hyde Park. And one of the protesters from this group said, violence is not our intention, but added, if it does, we are people who will defend our honour. Well, you don't, listen, you don't have any honour. I'm sorry, you don't have any honour. This is an insult to those people who have been told and do a job, have gone to a country far, far away because they believe and they've been told that they're going there to help the people in the country. If you guys don't like it, then get yourselves elected as a member of Parliament and do it that way. 0845 6060 973. Phones are busy. Want to hear what you have to say in a moment. Robin Simcox, I beg your pardon, Robin, research fellow at the Centre for Social Cohesion, which is a think tank, but don't hold that against him, that studies issues related to community cohesion in Britain. My gosh, that's a mouthful, Robin, isn't it? Anyway, listen, do you think we would be better in the media just ignoring this sort of behaviour?
Well, there's absolutely no doubt that this group, and just to provide a bit of context, they're exactly the same group under a different name that all protested against Wotton Bassett and the soldiers returning then. It's absolutely clear that they thrive on this publicity, but at the same time, if these events keep taking place, I think the media have to report them. They have a duty to let it be known that this kind of opinion, as fringe as it is, does exist, and unfortunately it does.
But unfortunately, I mean, you're working there to try and work out why communities in this country cannot live more closely together. This sort of thing is exactly why.
Absolutely right, and it's a huge problem, and really what the options they have left, the government, in this sort of situation, is that they've outlawed this group in a bid to stop scenes like we saw today, but they simply change their name and spring up again. So all you can really do is arrest and charge those that have broken the law, and console yourself with the fact that obviously the vast majority of the nation stood united in silence today. But as you said, some nutters chose to abuse that. There
were, I should point out, around 50 counter-demonstrators there who, in my view, were just as stupid and just as ridiculous, wandering around in their red cross. I wish we could... This will upset a few people. I'd like to see us change the flag, the English flag. I'm sure we can find a better one. Let's have the 3 lions back or something like that. But walking around in their sort of white T-shirts with the red cross on it, just as idiotic as the others.
Yeah, this is another huge problem. The English Defence League, as it seemed to be, that launched the counter-protest. You see this happening all the time. One extreme group sets up a protest, the English Defence League come out, and these things descend normally into some kind of riot. It's clearly not what you want to see, and especially on a day like today when people should just be remembering the sacrifices that have been made in the past.
Do you think perhaps sitting down with these people on both sides maybe and actually calmly talking to them about how other people, the majority, would see their actions, would do any good?
Honestly, with a group like Muslims Against Crusades, they would not pay any attention. They absolutely thrive on this, and they don't believe they have any stake in British society. They don't believe that British law really should hold any jurisdiction for them. They've completely rejected any kind of Western liberal values, and I really don't think negotiation would solve a lot. There's not a lot you can do on apart from prosecute those that have broken the law and just show general civic intolerance to their behaviour.
So you would say, coming from your point of view, that this needs to be reported in the press, but perhaps you see, if it's going to go into the press, it's going to go into the press big time. I mean, if we ignored it completely and we took away the oxygen of publicity, would it disappear?
Well, there's two things. They do absolutely. I think there's no doubt they absolutely love the publicity. They do love the publicity of things like today. But at the same time, if it wasn't reported, that doesn't mean that they would stop holding these beliefs. They would still have the same ideology, still think the same things, and still be a general blight within the community and in society. What the press does is raise awareness of this situation. Now, I think at times it could be perhaps reported slightly, perhaps with more nuance, and obviously that we do have to clarify that it is, like you say, a small group, 30 people. But I don't think we can really just ignore the fact that this is happening at all. I don't think we can stick our head in the sand in it. I think there is a general need to raise awareness of this kind of issue.
All right, Robin, thank you very much indeed for your time. Robin Simcox, Research Fellow at the Centre for Social Cohesion.